I finally get to talk about a Beatles release. Yay! We finally have a Beatles release. And I know what you're going to say. Oh, we did have Paul McCartney's Flaming Pie box set. Let me address that right now. I did not get the Flaming Pie box set. The main reason is the cost. You know, the main reason is that cost. I love the record. I bought it when it came out. I did buy the vinyl edition of the remaster. I have to buy it on CD. I have asked for the box set for Christmas, so hopefully Santa Claus will bring it to me. But I really didn't have major nostalgia for it. Now, if they did a box of London Town or Back to the Egg, like which is in the works and was originally rumored, yes, I would have been there. But it was over $200. But we did get this. John Lennon, Gimme Some Truth. The Ultimate Mixes. And we finally have a Beatles release to bring us Beatlemaniacs some joy this year. And if you read the box set booklet, we are supposed to be getting a Plastic Ono Band box set soon. And I don't know if it's this year or if that's been postponed, but bring it on, is what I say. I gotta tell you, people could say whatever they want about Yoko. I did a video early in my channel, so everybody knows where I stand on Yoko. Say what you want. She knows how to give you value for your money. Going back to the Imagine set in 2018, that was so much more in-depth than anything McCartney put out in the archive collection. McCartney is good with a lot of print media stuff in his sets, so I give him that. But the amount of material you got in the Imagine set, it was amazing, and it was for $80. And here, this being 40, I got this for $45, two CDs and a Blu-ray, and you get this beautiful booklet. My gosh, is this beautiful! Very informative. A lot of interview clips and that correspond with each song. You get the lyrics to the songs, everything. And not only that, you get a poster, a double-sided poster. You get two postcards, a postcard of the famous postcard John sent the Queen to give back his MBE. You get another postcard of John and Yoko, I think in the Apple offices. And you get a Gimme Some Truth bumper sticker. All this is staying in my package, by the way. And what do I think of this? Now, this is called the Ultimate Mixes. So these are remixes, or new mixes. I don't like to use the term remix too much because the term remix in the last, beginning in the 80s up to this day, is more or less a dance remix, which is a remake of the actual hit song. So I don't like to use that term too much, but in here, these are new mixes, and from the notes done by Paul Hicks and the other gentleman whose name escapes me right now, and I don't want to grab my booklet, Sean something, so Paul and Sean will say, they basically did these analog. I think they remixed them digitally and then they matched them analog. And that was Sean, that was a wish of John Lennon, who produced this set. Yoko was the creative director. And so they did everything analog. No digital plugins. Everything was done analog. And you could nitpick over these mixes to death. And some people have. I've seen videos where people were complaining no high end on the drums and all that stuff. I'm telling you, I'm not nitpicking over this at all. Now, in another interview, the both of them said these mixes are exclusive to this set only. They are the Plastic Ono Band set is coming out at some point. They're working on Sometime in New York City, which I think that album deserves a remix, a new mix. They're working on Mind Games. They're working on Walls and Bridges. They're working on Rock and Roll. So every Lennon album is going to come out in an Ultimate Mix box set. And I say, bring it on. Some of them, I think, need new mixes as... I think some of them were slightly overproduced, but that doesn't take away from the great songs. And what do I think of the mixes on this album? I love them. I don't have any complaints. It's a new way of looking at this thing. In fact, I think this set has a lot of highlights for me. A lot of highlights. You're hearing some of these things in a new light. On Isolation, the midsection where John is double tracked and starts, I don't expect you to understand. He sounds like he is shouting at the listener now. He's right there in front of you and he's telling you, you caused so much pain, but you're not to blame. He's grabbing your attention. Instant Karma, a lot of times they bring the vocal up and the vocal is a bit clearer, slightly drier, which for me is a welcome, because John always liked to bury his vocals. Even in the Beatles, when he found out that he can do tricks to his voice, because he never liked his voice. Despite the fact that Paul and George and Ringo were always, their mouths would drop when they would hear him sing and do a take. John was always unhappy. So if you could add echo to it, if you could very speed his voice or do any sort of tricks to it, he always had wanted. And he would put his vocal a bit more back in the mix. Here, his vocal is up front on a lot of the things. I like how the drums sound on a lot of these tracks. I like the bass. I know some people criticize that, but I'm not. And I think we need this set at this time. I think it was a bit too heavy on the Imagine stuff because we just had the Imagine Ultimate mixes. So basically, you're getting an abbreviated version of the Imagine album on here. But let me just go and run through some highlights. Instant Karma, the vocal is a lot more up front, but on top of that, the choir of people that they grabbed off the street in the background, you could hear that more, and it's like you just want to sing along with that. If I could, Cold Turkey, it's just such you really feel how dirty and rocking that track is now. Angela. I did a review of Sometime in New York City not too long ago, and I sort of complained about that record. I mean, politically, I agree with John, but I felt song-wise, the songs weren't quite there. But I think a lot of it has to do with the mixing of those tracks. I thought the album sounded kind of muddy. And Angela, in this new Ultimate Mix here, it breathes. The strings breathe. There's an organ solo that I don't recall on the original mix. If it's there, it wasn't prominent. I'll have to A-B it again, but on the original album, I don't recall hearing the beautiful organ solo on there. There's just such a breath to the track now that when the chorus hits, it is much more powerful and much more effective now than the semi-mono, even though it was stereo, but the way it was mixed on the original, everything is slightly off center, so there's a muddiness to it. This, I love the way it breathes now. Some of the other ones, I Know, just as a song in general, let me ask you guys, do you think he's talking about Yoko, or do you think he's talking about Paul? I always thought that was kind of John trying to reach out to Paul in that one, the way Paul tried to reach out to John on Dear Friend. And I really thought that was John trying to reach out to Paul, especially certain lines in the song that make allusions to Getting Better from Sgt. Pepper. I guess it's a toss-up. But some of the highlights for me, Bless You, which I think is one of his most underrated songs. The vocal is up front, a bit more drier. I like that. You could hear it. Number 9 Dream, I'll get to that one. Stand By Me. John's vocal is more up front. Some of the droning horns are in the back. Oh my gosh, I loved the way Stand By Me was mixed on here. I get goosebumps thinking about it right now. I really felt John was singing to me in that song. Singing to all of us. This classic song that he took and made his own. I love it. I'm Stepping Out. Didn't really sound too different from the Milk and Honey one, but I just think it's an incredible song in general. And I like the fact that unfortunately it was left unfinished, and the way it was released, it was still raw. John giving direction to the band members as they're playing. But I love that song. Another standout for me on here is Grow Old With Me. It's a bit of a hybrid and beautiful. This replaces every version of Grow Old to me I've ever heard. It's a hybrid of I think a newly discovered piano demo that John did, as well as the Lennon anthology version that takes the demo that was done that was put on the Milk and Honey album, added with George Martin's orchestration and George Martin's son Giles on bass. First off, I love the orchestration on that. But this one, crossfading into that version on the second verse, tears. I'm getting them now. It's in my head. Oh, goosebumps. My enthusiasm for that mix. That's the go-to version of that song for me from here on out. When I want to hear Grow Old With Me, I'm going to put that one on. Happy Christmas, War Is Over. And it's great hearing it at this time of year too, right now. It never grows old for me. The Happy Christmas, Kyoko, Happy Christmas, Julian is much more up front in the mix. The War Is Over, If You Want It, as you could hear the backing vocals. The instruments are a lot more clear without losing the Phil Spector wall of sound aspect to it. Very good there. I love it. That's some of the other highlights, but I want to tell you that I played the Blu-ray, and there's 2 more highlights for me on the Blu-ray, the surround sound. I played it on Dolby Atmos mode. I don't have an Atmos system, but if you have an but for me, the things that make Atmos with the overhead channels and things like that, they get folded into the 5 speakers. So I wanted to play. First one I went to was Number 9 Dream, and I was surrounded by a beautiful forest of strings. Ken Asher's string orchestration for this is breathtaking. You are in a dreamland if you close your eyes. And then the May Pang doing the John. You can tell if you have an overhead overhead speakers for the Atmos, that would be floating above your overheads. I could just tell that. It's just a dream world when you close your eyes. It really brings that song to life. It's almost like it was made for surround sound. And Instant Karma, I wanted to hear that in surround. You just want to sing along with that chorus. You hear them on the rear channels, all shine on. It really works in surround. And I can't say enough about that. And haven't played some of the others in surround yet, but I will. And overall, I'm very happy with this. This is a package that is bringing me joy. Yes, it's a compilation, but they did something new to get people to buy a compilation again. So, hats off to them on, in my opinion, a class act job all around. Yoko and Sean, you did a great job with this. Now bring on the other box sets is what I say. I'm ready. Thank you very much. This is a bit long, and I appreciate you sticking around for the whole thing. I'm not going to do any editing on it, but thank you so much, and I'll talk to you soon.